So my screen is visible. So today we are going to see this thing, zone to zone audit. Zone to zone audit. So when anyone says zone, right? So what it comes in your mind in layman terms? What this exactly comes in your mind? Just write, not in terms of cyber security or technical, just in layman terms. What it comes in your mind? Jaydeep, Stephen.
one area to another area,
Right,
Krish.
one area to another area, right? So
Okay.
similar way in cybersecurity, as it's it is segregated, in different area, different. When I say different area, right, it's nothing but a different network, different network. And when we say different network, means different subnets. Like if anything is 10.10.10.0 slash 23, other having suppose 192.168.10.0 slash 24, one having 10.20.10.0 slash 24. So these are the different networks, and it is given a name of area. In that area, it's eventually in cyber security, it's called a zone. So in when you go in a cyber security, so it is your duty to define this network. You have to give the name to this network. Like suppose it is finance network. So I will calling it is a finance sorry, I'm calling finance zone, this network. And this network, suppose if it is tools and monitoring, then I'm calling it as tools and monitoring zone. So it is difficult to name, every time what you call 192.168 dot. So in that place, we will define by a tools and monitoring zone. So we will understand what is a network in that particular thing. Then you will define the finance network. Then you will define the HR network. So this way, a whole segment has been defined. So how it has been done? So if you go in any company, so this way the network has been defined. See, this is the it's you are sitting with your boss. See, your team plus network team. We'll be sitting in table and defining a zones. See, are you able to see this particular? See, production internet, DMZ, internet, sorry, DMZ, OSS, BSS network, BSS network. It is when I say this BSS network, what this is just the name I have given to one zone, external application zone. It means it is having in behind this zone, there is some IP address, there is some network like this way. That's 23. So to define this network, eventually we call area. I'm giving a name of external application, a subscription application, TIPCO application. So like this way, I'm defining a matrix like this way. And all these zones are connected via firewalls. When one zone, one zone wanted to communicate to other zone, so it is going via one firewall. In between, everything is been defined by a firewall. Suppose this zone wanted to communicate to this zone, so there is a firewall in between. Sorry, see, suppose this zone wanted to communicate to this zone. Like this way, it is traffic is going, and there is a firewall of network. And if I open a particular port, if I open a port, then only this one zone can communicate to this second zone. Otherwise, they will not able to communicate. So this is a metric which you have to sit with network team and define which zone is going to communicate to which zone. So when I am putting like this way, red, it means when I'm defining a green, it means it is going by a firewall. When I'm defining a white, it's depending upon which color you are choosing. It depends upon company to company. It is there is no access. Means strictly I'm not giving access between this particular zone. And if it is red, there is no firewall. See, when you say this zone to this zone means it is a self network. So there should not be a firewall. Now, after seeing this metric, can you tell me why we are, making this kind of metrics? Why we are making this kind of metric? Just try a guess. Why we are making this metrics, this kind of metrics between zone to zone? Just try.
So, yeah,
Hmm.
for my understanding, for finance team cannot access the HR zone, or HR zone cannot access the production zone. There is some restriction.
Yeah, right. So there is some restrictions. You're absolutely right. We don't want, letter movement. Suppose one of the example I will give you. Suppose this particular zone, there is no work of connecting to other zone. So I will give you access. One second, others second point you said right, and third most point. Suppose if any attack happen on this zone, right? If any virus came to this zone, malware, so it won't spread to other zones. So if it's like if suppose COVID uh, is been spread to one area, and you separated that particular area with other area, so it won't spread the virus from one area to other area. So similar way, if any attacks happens, or attacker is put any kind of malware, or he get any kind of access, he won't able to do a lateral movement. Means he can only able to get one or two system access. He cannot get this access to other system. This is third reason. First is for the business purpose. Do not wanted to mix one area, one zone to other zone, as you said. So this is a matrix we have to define again. So so when application wanted to go live, so there is a business team, and there is a development team. So what they will do, if they wanted to have access, they will go onto the portal. They will raise a ticket. What they will raise ticket to get the access. Suppose if how they are getting access. Let me see. Yeah. So this way they are going to raise a access. This is the one of the example of my previous company. So this way they are going to raise a access for the port one, and second zone to zone access if they wanted to have access particular port. So this way they will raise a request. So this is the word format. When company initially set up, they will use this kind of word format. But once it will set up, they will use a portal. And who will going to raise the access? Business team who is handling the business of that particular application, or development team who is developing particular application. So they will raise a request in this particular thing. And if suppose And how they are going to raise? Yeah, see this way they are going to raise a request like this way. Here they will define the IP address. So this IP address having particular zone, and here they will defining, see, all server segment. So here also there is a zone. So when they are saying all segment 7 means all zones access they are defining. Here you have to go and find out in your Excel sheet or in your portal that this IP belongs to which zone. And this way they are requesting to open the port. And here they are going to give the business justification, team management, password management. And then when you receive this kind of request, so you are going to see in your matrix if you wanted to give access or not. See, if suppose if it is requesting access from this to this, so what this says here, if you come here, so you are landing up onto this one, this particular thing. So here is said say no access. So that particular time, in this particular case, so what you will do? Now just tell me, in this particular case, here it's saying no access, and you are receiving uh, this request. Suppose in case if we take that particular zone, one zone to other zone, here that it's saying no access. So what will be your action on that particular thing after seeing the matrix? So now what you are going to do? Just tell me, Jaydeep, Stephen, Arun.
Yeah, as per the policy, it is there is no access,
Yeah,
so we can give the access something like that. We need to send reply back to that mail or something.
yeah, right. So in portal or in mail, so you are saying as per policy, we cannot give the access to you. Simple, and you are going to deny the request. What you're going to do? Deny the request.
Deny the request.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. So that is the thing. It's called zone to zone access. Now, so now when I say this particular IP address, so what this IP address? There is a firewall which we are going to see like this way, and there is an interface like this way. Uh, and this particular IP address is assigned to this but one network. And now this I am putting this, sorry, this, suppose this is an interface of gigabit 0 slash 1. This way the firewall interface has been defined. Now within 2 minutes we are going to see, and in this particular interface this IP address has been given. This, if you see, this IP address is given to this one of the IP address 10.10.10.1. So this interface now is called as a finance interface. And now second interface is I'm going to configure here, and here I'm going to give one IP address 192.168.10.1, and it is been called as a tools and utility interface. So this way, one, we are defining a zone. Zone is nothing but in easy term, it is a area. When I say area, it is nothing but a network of IP address, and where I'm going to define this IP address in the interface of firewall. See this interface of firewall, and now here I'm configuring to connect one interface, one network to other network over particular port only. By default, it is a deny by default. See, I have only configured the network, and by by default, the all the requests from this network to this network it's deny. If you wanted to allow, then you have to specifically define the IP address of this network to this network plus port, IP address of source, IP address of destination, and then port you have to define 21, 22, any kind of ports are there. So you have to define, then only this network we will communicate to this network. And how this firewall look like? So practical. Mhm. So there is a tool which is called Packet Tracer. Currently it is not in my system. So we're going to download that particular thing. It is there. It is not there. So this is a Packet Tracer. If you download, you will get the practical of. You will see a switch, router, and the firewall. So our work involves around this particular thing, firewall. How firewall interface look like, how firewall, you know, see. Now we are going to download this one, Packet Tracer. What is this one? So,
Go back to um, the
this
lecture thing on the tab that you had. There was on the first thing, I think it said to
uh,
download. If you scroll up a bit.
see download packets. Yeah. Yes. See, those who wanted to become a network engineer of particular Cisco's network engineer, they use this packet tracer to practice how to configure a switch, how to configure router, and how to configure a firewall. Now it is open. So when you go, let me start. When you go as in cybersecurity, so what will your role pertaining to the, especially for the firewall? One, we are going to audit the firewall rules. Second, we are going to scan the ports. Third, we are going to make a matrix like that, which we have seen if we are joining in initial days of these companies. Second, port approval. So this port approvals. So this work we are going to perform in the cybersecurity field. So when we say audit rule, so what this means, we have already studied in last class. So just tell me, wrong, right, it's fine. Audit the rules. What you are going to do exactly by auditing a firewall rules? It's fine, not an issue. Tell me.
We're going to limit like we'll look at the rules as to what comes in and what goes out of the network and like any rules
Yeah,
and
right,
things like that.
right. First is any where any is configured. One. Second is CNC port. Uh, if there's unnecessary CNC ports are open, you're going to close. Third, unused rules or shadow rules. We are going to do audit. And when we saying port approval, like similar way, business team, development team, they are going to raise a ticket and you are going to approve that particular request. And when we see a scanning a port, so what this means, when we are going to scan the particular port, sorry, particular IP address or application. So for this particular thing, which tool are you going to use? Any idea?
And map.
So for this particular thing, right? Suppose if we are in a cybersecurity expert, so we are also going to define. We are given a bunch of IP address, right? Many IP address or URL. So we are asking to see if what kind of ports are open from the internet or internal network or internal networks. So how we are going to see which kind of ports are open. So for that particular thing, we are going to use nmap tool. So first we will see firewall, then we will see a nmap tool. See, this is, yeah. Now we came to this particular. So here we are going to see on the downside. Can you see this one? All these things. So this is the firewall. Sorry, this is a router. It's my mistake. So this is the router. Mhm. Then and this is the switch we are going to see. And now this is the firewall we are going to see. So this way we are going to see a firewall in your company. So this is the hardware. See, when we say, as I told you, see, these are the interfaces. Here we are going to connect, here we are going to define one zone, right? Like we are going to give IP address, which we have seen, dot one. And then this interface is going to define a particular network of this one, slash 23. One. So this network now it's going here you are naming this particular network as suppose tools network. This network you are going to define suppose as a BSS network. So depending upon what kind of application you have in your organization and how you are going to give a nomenclature. But here is the actual things come in the picture like this way. Here, this is a back panel of firewall, and here cable is going to connect. Here cable is going to connect to other network. Here from here cable is going to connect to other network. So this way you are going to define 5-6 network within this firewall. Now how it's look like by configuration. See, this is the way interface look like. These are the interfaces. When we say gigabit Ethernet, so it means it is a 1 Gbps of fiber network. Sorry, 1 Gbps of copper network. This one. See, these are the nets. So this firewall has how many interfaces? This firewall have 8 interfaces. See, this 8 interface. So here you can easily define 8 zones. And when wanted to configure, see this way, we're going to configure the firewall. So CLI node. So when you get this firewall, when network team is getting a firewall, so this way it look like, see, in CLI mode. In CLI mode. So here we are going to configure. What is the file? I have to check what is the default admin password. You have to see what is the default password. So when you go, yeah. So how firewall configuration it's look like. So here it's this. Yeah. So this way, can you see? So this way you are going to define the firewall configuration lines. Can you see this one? So this way I am going to define the firewall configuration within that particular interface. See DM inline objects group. So when we are configuring this kind of firewall rules, it is very hard to understand. So how we are going to easily make? So there is a tool which is called Skybook, which we have studied in last class. So how it is making easier? So this way it is making a easier way. Source, destination, and the service in simple way. When we see the interface, this is the interface and traffic is coming. I am defining this particular interface. So which this we are naming this interface untrust DMZ. So how we are going to define? So this is the way. See one particular firewall. So we are going to define all this particular thing to this particular interface. This particular interface. This one. When you say DMZ, trust, untrust, we are going to define in this particular thing area. We are going to define this only. So when we say we see like this way, just try a guess what you understand by saying this one. Are you able to understand or not? Just try and say. See if this is the first time, if anything is coming to you, how you are going to know all those things. Now, just a minute. Sharing something. Hmm. Are you able to see my screen? See, can you see my
Yes, sir.
screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
yeah. So this is the way you will see a firewall configuration access list. So now can you just tell me by seeing this one, when are you able to understand anything? This is a firewall configuration part from one of my firewall. So are you able to just see and think? Are you able to understand this thing? It is saying access list, global in, extended permit, TCP IP, anything. Are you able to understand this one? It's, so the answer is simple no, right?
No, Mangesh.
Right. So there is a tool which is called Skybox, which will make you know this kind of configuration. See, it is not your job to go and understand, so they will not give you directly this kind of configuration. So what they will do, they will connect a firewall, sorry, they will connect the firewall to a skybox tool. This is whatever we are seeing, it is only CLI mode, but when you go uh, on this, it either is connected to CLI mode, or they will give you a simple way of user interface user interface and in that particular user interface, the configuration is not going to look like this way. Configuration is not going to look like this way. So how the configuration is going to look like, in simplest term, it is going to look like this way. See, this way you are going to pull the report in easiest form, so you don't need to get worried ki how my CLI look like. This is the tool of Skybox or any tool. If you have access, you are easily able to pull out the report like this way. Source, destination, service. Now tell me, are you able to understand this one or that particular CLI one?
This one.
This one, right? This is easily you can understand, right? So those CLI who is going to work, a network team is going to work on it. So what is your role? Your role is not to configure the rule. Your role is to approve the rule. And when you are getting a request to approve, how we are getting a request this way, or how we are going to pull out the report this way. Source, destination, service. Simple way. IP address, destination IP address, service, and action, permit or deny. Now the most part is this one. See, this is the interface. So what this interface you understand means, this interface. When it's saying interface, just try and say it is fine, even if wrong, right? If you ask in 15 time, 50 time, you can ask what this
It's like
interface.
a group.
Huh? No, this interface again. I'm saying this interface means this one only. See, when you are seeing the interface, this interface, I'm saying DMZ, signaling rules interface, untrust interface, nothing but this interface, this physical interface, this one.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, nothing but of this one, this physical interface, this one. When I'm saying DMZ, I'm just naming of this interface is DMZ. Means traffic is coming from this interface of DMZ. See, I cannot remember XYZ firewalls gigabit interface one, right? I cannot remember this way. So how I'm going to do? I'm going to easily define a DMZ zone. I've already defined a zone. So that particular zone where I'm going to define also in this particular firewall interface. And you are seeing signaling rule coming. So what this means one of the interface of firewall here signaling I'm going to define. One interface I'm going to define DMZ, other is I'm going to define the signal and see, can you see untrust interface? So this third one I'm going to define as a untrust interface. I'm going to give a name, and behind that DMZ, what you will get nothing but IP addresses. See, here you are getting IP address, right? So nothing but a IP address you will get bunch of IP. Here also IP addresses. So here also you are going to get the IP address. So this interface is nothing but a firewall interface from where the traffic is coming or going out. So I am defining these interfaces, this particular interfaces. Now, yeah,
So then every interface would have its own specific rules. Say
yeah,
like
right.
if it's untrust, then it will have like a bunch of IP address that you don't
Right.
want to allow, right?
Allow, right, absolutely right.
Okay.
Now, just give me 2 minutes. I will open the configuration for you. Just allow me 1 minute. I'm just opening my other laptop to share the configuration file of firewall. Just allow me 10 more seconds.